Hey guys, Shadow Dragon here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to improve your build in 2022. So we're going to start off with gradients. Gradients are a big part of building, and they add a lot of less blandness, a lot of divinity to your builds. They can make them look a lot more beautiful. And I've actually got some examples here of all the colours that you can do. So now, as you can see in red, we've got a bit of wool, and as you can see on my build that I am doing, I have actually included some gradients and some other stuff as well, which I'll get into later. Anyway, we've got some red wool, some red concrete, some concrete powder, and we've got some light blocks and stuff, the orange as well. And now these are just textures that I've come up with, gradients that I've come up with, and feel free to experiment yourself. You don't have to copy these, these are just some of the blocks that I like that go together. Now this one in particular, I think it would look really good for like a honey pot or something. Maybe you're building like a giant room and use a honey pot on the side. This is obviously more of a natural green, then this is moving into dark greens, and then you have your lighter ones down here. Now the emeralds, that might be a bit more expensive, obviously I have a training one that shouldn't be too high. Moving on to light blues, we've got, again, quite expensive blocks. You don't have to use diamonds, like I said, you can choose your own. We've got a bit of ice, we've got some warped root blocks, I think, something like that. And then we've got the dark blues as well, and these will be good for like ocean sort of things. And then we've got the purples. I've actually left pinks and magentas out because, as I said, I like you guys to have a go at your own sort of gradients and textures. I also want to make this a video a bit shorter because I've got some big things coming up in the next episode of my survival series. And if you haven't checked out the latest episode, then please do go and do that now, because if you check that out, this video will sort of make sense because it's related to that, and this has been a long time coming as well. Anyway, moving on to textures. So with builds, people often, beginners often build their walls or their floors just with the same block, and it looks a bit bland and a bit boring. So what I've done here is actually chosen a few bits of the same like stony materials, bricks, some mossy cobblestone, some cracked bricks, and I've replaced a few blocks. Now what you don't want to do is replace too many, otherwise it can look a bit ugly, but depending on your preferences or what build you're doing, this can be quite a good texture. Now it doesn't have to be these blocks specifically, you can have andesite, you can have diorite, just make sure they sort of like match the colours like I have done here. So moving on to the next one, well that one back there was more like a medieval house sort of thing. This is more like a, I don't know, like a kitchen floor, a castle floor. But as you can see, I've actually used smithing tables for the floor, so it's practical and it looks quite nice because it blends quite well with the blackstone. I've also thrown in some obsidian just to add a bit more grittiness to it, I guess. Now here we have the new deep slate tiles, and we've actually added some black stone slabs into the bottom. Now this creates depth and makes it look less flat, which is okay in some cases I guess, but when you're trying to make a more realistic build or something look more interesting, you kind of want to have some sort of depth. So it can be slabs, stairs, just blocks going in, glass panes obviously. There's blocks that also aren't full blocks, which can look interesting. And now moving over to here, I've actually used all of the things that I've taught you today. So texture down the bottom, I've got some rooted dirt, some coarse dirt and some normal dirt, along with some granite to make a dirt texture. I've got some moss on top with some leaves, taking inspiration from the lush caves here. I've got some vines as well. And then on top we got a little building, inspiration for my tower. We've got a little bit of a gradient, a little bit of a texture with the whites, with some white walls, some concrete powder, some iron blocks and a new calcite block. And then on top we've obviously got deep slate tiles, slabs, and we've got some blackstone slabs mixed in there as well. We've also got a few leaves in the tower as well, to add a bit, detail. This is a bit more unflat, and on the top you saw I had an antenna, and the little details make it just that bit more good looking. Anyway, as you saw there, I have actually included in my build, and here as well in the portal, actually included depth in my build to make it look more interesting and less boring to the eye. And as you can see, I've done it with the windows as well. Now I am actually going to make a few changes to these because the blocks I'm trying to collect for this is going to take forever, so I'm going to make a few changes before I build it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and if you want to see more tutorials like this or building tips or redstone things, then obviously please do let me know down in the comments, and like and subscribe and you won't miss out on my survival series.